In this breaking story, you're about to watch Fox News get absolutely destroyed live on air. And it's all because the dumb hosts over there just cannot help themselves but spread more and more lies about the innocent woman that Trump murdered. One thing's for certain, America is in an incredibly dark place right now.
That's me. 1987 with my family. Why? Well, before Korea was this, it was this. You see, the Korea that my parents left in the early 1980s actually looks a lot like America today under Trump. We had the domestic deployment of armed forces, there were violent suppressions of protests, and the constant attempt to distort and control the narrative. But here's one important, scary difference. In Korea in the 1980s, the government actually did have a total lockdown on information. Ordinary Koreans, foreigners, they had almost no idea what was happening in places like Gwangju. They didn't know that these massive peaceful protests were being met by beatings, by torture, and by live bullets. But in America today, that information is right in front of us. We all saw the video from 3 different angles. We can all see that ICE murdered a woman, and somehow our government is still telling us that it didn't happen. Korea's military dictatorship ended when the information was smuggled out, and the images and the stories of Gwangju sparked not just protests in South Korea, but a movement of international solidarity, a movement so big that even toddlers in New York City were protesting the regime. And solidarity is the only way out for us today. Protest if you can, volunteering at your local food pantry, handing out whistles. Solidarity worked in Korea in 1987, and it paved the way for this.
And still, Fox News continues to try and peddle their stupid lies, simping for Donald Trump and a murderous regime like the bootlicking scum that they are. But now Fox News is getting quite a bit of pushback on the clip you're about to see and on this one.
So what's funny to me is, when is violence? When is protest? When is this all acceptable?
But isn't that the same though? Where's the protest against the regime that's killing people in the street right now? I mean, I don't see anybody at Columbia.
Well, they're doing those today, and it's called the ICE protests.
Well, but they talking about Iran at the ICE protest?
No, I think they're talking about the regime that's shooting people in the face. I mean, I think it's a very American idea to not want police forces to be able to shoot Americans indiscriminately. And the idea that J.D. Vance says is that they should have absolute immunity. You know, I thought this guy was a hillbilly. He had a book, Hillbilly Elegy. And I can tell you, hillbilly values, at least from where I'm from in Appalachia, are that the government ought not be able to have absolute immunity when they shoot you in the face. But maybe we came from a different Appalachia.
Okay, Corbin.
But that's not where it stops. In fact, that's only where it begins, because Fox News just got absolutely eviscerated by a congressman. Take a look at this.
So you are putting all the onus on the ICE officer. What about on Renee Good? She's behind the wheel of a vehicle. I've been pulled over by a car. I assume that, by a cop rather. I assume that if I start to drive forward, I might... That's against the law, and they might take action to stop me. Is that completely off base? This is entirely the fault of the ICE officer. Put more plainly.
To be clear, so Peter, what you're saying is, just so I can understand, what you were saying is if you get pulled over on the side of a highway, for example, and the officer grabs your door and attempts to prise it open, and is filming you with another officer on the other side of the car, and your car moves forward away from the officers, you think your family would be okay if you then got shot in the face 3 times?
No, but I would think that I'm disobeying a law enforcement officer who's giving me an order while they pull me over for something. I think the point here, the question is, isn't there a better way for progressives who are upset with ICE policy to protest than getting up in their grill, possibly from behind the wheel of a car? Would you agree that that is not the best way?
Again, Peter, you're victim blaming here.
Not victim blaming.
No law enforcement officer.
No, Congressman.
No law enforcement officer should be doxxed.
Nobody is victim blaming.
About 2 minutes ago, I heard Director Lyons say that the civilian was at fault for being involved in that operation. Let's be clear here. You have a badge, you have a gun, you are wearing a mask. You are accountable for everything that happens or fails to happen in that operation. No law enforcement officer should be accosted or harassed or assaulted And there should be penalties of law for so doing. And no U.S. citizen should be afraid of their own government. And that is what ICE has created. They have stopped being an arm of the law, and they have started being an instrument of fear.
Thanks so much for watching. Please click that like button and subscribe to Occupy Democrats so that you can stay informed and help us stop Donald Trump.